Hi, friends. As we continue to journey into Advent this season, I want to ask you a question to think about today. What do you hope for this season? Now, if you think about it in our culture, the things that advertisements and companies will try and get you to hope for are things. I particularly like the auto ads, whether it's Subaru or Chevy or Ford or Honda. Their advertisements on television or social media will try and communicate to the larger public that buying an automobile will bring joy and happiness. And that sometimes even certain ads will communicate through the visual components of the ad and the story that the ad tries to tell that buying a particular automobile from a particular company might even make your family happier, or at least that's what they make it look like. Now, all of us know that that's not real. Yet the amount of money spent on buying and consuming and the amount of money spent on advertising in our culture suggests that at large our culture believes that that is real to some degree. Or at least they try and convince you that it's true. That buying the right things will bring the happiness and joy that you long for the most. And oftentimes we participate in all of that. But I often wonder, what are the deeper human longings that our buying, our consuming, our houses, our cars, our toys cannot satisfy? Think of these longings. For a loved one with depression to feel joy again, or maybe for you or me experiencing sorrow and depression and darkness or anxiety. Buying and selling and consuming won't satisfy that. Or maybe it's a longing for a cancer diagnosis to be reversed, or for healing to come from a bleak and, and sorrowful illness. The buying and consuming can't satisfy that. Maybe it's a broken relationship with a spouse, or a sister, or a brother, or a parent, or a son or daughter that's causing tension. Maybe you haven't spoken in days or months or weeks or years. Can't be satisfied with the buying and the consuming and the gifts. Or maybe it's just that peace would be experienced in your home. Or maybe it's just that you would look at the news cycle one day without feeling hopeless that our world is spiraling into chaos. Or maybe it's that you would look ahead to the next day or the next year with the hope that by God's mercy it will be a good day or a good year. None of these things can be satisfied by our cultural Christmas celebrations, by the consuming, by the buying, by the gift giving. And we all know it, which is in large part why so many people depressingly return back to their regular old lives with a sense of hopelessness and darkness in the month of January and February. We're just waiting to the next holiday to celebrate to make us feel better. The hope of Advent reminds us that there's a bigger story. And there's something that Advent offers to us that our cultural Christmas can't satisfy. And we all know it. The entrance of God into our lives in Jesus Christ, which we focus on during Advent, is part of a bigger story that has its climax in a better end than just feeling happy. There's a passage in Revelation 21 that I want to share with you. And it's about the vision of the end, where the story, where our humanity is going. And it's because of Advent that we're headed there. Revelation 21 says this: "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth passed away. And I saw the holy city, a new Jerusalem, coming out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride, beautifully dressed for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, 'Look, God's dwelling place is now among people, and he will dwell with them. They will be his people, and God will be their God. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. Death and mourning and crying and pain will be no more, for the old ways of things have passed away.' And the one who was seated on the throne said, 'Look, I'm making everything new.' And then he said, 'Write this down, for this is trustworthy.'" The hope of Advent reminds us that our deepest human longings and needs are met by God among us. And all of these things that Revelation is talking about and pointing to haven't happened yet, but Advent reminds us that the whole point of it all is that this is where we are headed. And that Jesus' birth into our humanity reminds us that God is with us, moving us in that direction of hope. And we are not left alone to a bleak and dark end of our humanity. The end of the story is hope. And it's something that we are invited to participate in now because God is with us now. And this hope means that we participate in God bringing fulfillment to our deepest longings. That if God is still among us, then we will work and seek to bring healing to hurt, to bring reconciliation to broken relationships, and that we will live with the hope that sorrow will be turned to joy, and that even life will come out of death. These are all things that our cultural Christmas cannot satisfy. So what do you put your hope in this year? What are you hoping for today? Find that hope in the fact that God has come among us. I love the song Joy to the World, and I think the words just nail it on the head. No more let sin and sorrow grow, nor thorns infest the ground. He's come to make his blessings known, far as the curse is found. Far as the curse is found, far as the curse is found. Let that be your hope today in this season of Advent, and let it carry you beyond December 26th. We'll see you soon, friends. God be with you today.